Welcome to the Absolutely PlayStation Deceived Gamers weekly podcast. This week's hosts are me, Benny, and Shank. I'll just call you Shank. We're not going to confuse this. No?
What's up, guys? Check out our other video if you're confused about that.
So long story short, if you want to know why it's just the two of us this week, Huey and Dylan said you can do one more Destiny podcast and then you have to stop talking about it. So
good luck. No, I promise. I'll stop talking about Destiny after this week.
No, but all jokes aside, Shank and I did something a little extra this week, so we decided that would be a good focal point of today's podcast, which wouldn't include Dylan and Huey, and that is we did the day one raid of Destiny 2. I'll explain what that is more in depth when we get to it, but before we get to that, I'm going to check if we're recording. We are. So anyway, next up, we're going to say what we've done for the week. So outside of Destiny, Shank, what have you done?
Surgery. That's it.
I was like,
I downloaded 14, so I'm going to be playing some 14 this next week. Benny's going to be caught up.
Yeah. Oh, that's the plan. Yeah, so I got onto Final Fantasy 14. They have a fishing raid. Every 2 hours a boat arrives. Me and a bunch of people constantly got on it and went fishing. It was fun. I got a lot of points. I have a shark I can ride now.
That sounds fantastic, but you did show me some gameplay of that, and that does not look fun.
What? No, yeah, it's like a mini game. They get like the crazy boss music and stuff like that going. It's fun. You'll do it. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have a blast.
I'm sure I'm going to do it. The blast part, we'll see. I'm sure I'll love it. I'm sure I'm gonna shit talk it for a while, and then I'll end up loving it.
I was going to say, I see this being like you're shit-talking it now, and then 3 days in, you're like, all right, so I'm level 80. I've capped out my fisher doing the boating. I've managed to make every boating event known to mankind.
I've collected the rare collectible blue fish.
Outside of that, I've did a little bit more in Assassin's Creed Revelation to finish up this platinum. I'm going to take next month off of trying to get one and get back to it July. I'm on schedule. If I get back into it July, I do 3 more months, I could take 1 more month off, but I'm on schedule for beating each of these games on track. But I hit a bit of a roadblock at the end of Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Why? What happened?
It got not fun.
That's where I'm at with Nier Replicant right now. I think I just need to ignore all the side quests and just start doing the main story, because...
Well, see, at least you're still playing Nier. That's why it's not fun. I'm not playing Assassin's Creed anymore. So Assassin's Creed Revelations has a mode called Desmond's Memories. And what it is you go into a first-person mode, and you go through like a puzzle where you can make a block and make a ramp, and you have to angle the puzzle to get to the exit. There's only 5 of them in the main game. They're kind of dumb and kind of annoying, but they're not terrible. And they're done. Well, since there's no multiplayer in Revelations, they removed those trophies. And instead, put in the trophies for the DLC. The DLC for Revelations is 7 of those levels with collectibles and bonus objectives.
And you have to do all of it?
I have to do all of it to get the platinum, and it's not Assassin's Creed. If this was the game, I wouldn't have been doing this. It's boring, it's dull, it gives you a lot of Assassin's Creed background, but through people talking as you're walking.
See, that's the issue with a lot of platinums, is that they make you do like all the boring stuff. I mean, we've talked about it before, but when I say I want to do everything in the game, I want to do all the fun stuff in the game.
Exactly. I don't want to do the boring stuff, which is why I've generally enjoyed the Assassin's Creed Platinums, because the boring part is still Assassin's Creed. Like when I was doing every mystery in Valhalla, I was still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla with the same combat system, the same... Yes, the story's got a little dull on the 100th mystery I'm trying to complete in a zone, but I'm still playing the game that I love. This is a different game in your game that I have to beat. That's what this is, Shank.
Like all the mini games and like side missions. You know what game did it really well for their platinum was Ghost of Tsushima. It made you do everything, but it didn't make you do all of everything. Did you ever end up platinuming that?
No, I took a break from it because I just had too many open world games going at the exact same time, and I'm like, we're gonna put this one on the back burner.
Yeah. I do recommend you finish it.
I'm gonna go back to it. At least finish it. I don't know if I'll end up platinuming it, but I'll at least finish the plot into it. Because right now I'm only really platinuming Assassin's Creed games, and then I'm gonna do Nier just because by the time you get to ending E, you pretty much have a platinum. It was the argument I had with Control. By the time I did all the DLC, it was like if you play it's like if you play another hour, you have a platinum. Well, I'll get the platinum. I'm literally there for it.
The only issue is that gardening one. I don't know if you can start that earlier or if you have to wait till end game, but I heard that takes like a week of real life time.
Yeah, it's a week. I already looked into that. It's going to be just like there was one thing I had to do in Assassin's Creed Revelations. A random guy had to spawn, and Natalie came in one night. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Running circles for this thing to spawn."
God, that reminds me of like the old school Pokemon games. Or I think, did Kingdom Hearts have something like that too?
I don't know. The worst one I ever saw for a platinum that involved time, there's a game called Koi. It's a little puzzle game. You play a fish, you swim around ponds, and complete the goals. You have to play the game for 24 hours. The game is 2 hours long.
Wait. So the platinum is to play the game for 24 hours, but there's only 2 hours of content.
Yes. Panzer Dragoon has the exact same platinum in it, where it's like you have to play for over 24 hours, but there's 2 hours of levels.
Can you AFK?
Yeah, you AFK. Just leave it on overnight.
Right, just put a rubber band on your controller, walk into a corner, and go do the dishes, I guess. Whatever kids are doing these days.
Those are the platinums that I had just like, why does this exist? Like, it's one thing if you want to do time trials or crazy difficulties like Resident Evil games, but why are you going to put a platinum in where you know I'm not going to play your game? Like,
my guess is so that they can pump up their numbers and then say that they made an indie game with 5,000 hours played or 10,000 hours played. That's the only reason I can think of for that being a thing. I have no other idea.
I don't know. I wish there was a criteria for trophies because I love getting trophies, doing the little bonus things. I love getting triumphs in Destiny, even though I give you crap because I'll be like, what are you doing today? You're like, working on the most obscure triumph you've never heard of.
Yeah.
What triumph are you working on? Sidearm kills from the air into a fallen's brain 900 times.
That doesn't sound unrealistic. I wonder if PlayStation were to make, but then they'd have to have somebody to develop what all the trophies and achievements for the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so
that sounds like it would be a lot of money, especially for like smaller indie games.
Yeah. Well, so I also started up a couple other games, all of which I have a problem with. Okay. So I'm at that point with Revelation where I'm like, I'll do one of these levels a day. I'll finish out, no problem, but I'll just do one a day so I don't hate myself, right? So I'm looking for other games to play. In PlayStation, that got me back into 14. I went crazy on finishing up a lot of my Destiny stuff, but I was looking for more PlayStation games. So I went through my download list. The first one I want to talk about real quick, Shank, before we go into this day one discussion, SnowRunner. SnowRunner. The concept is that you are a truck driver delivering cargo through terrible circumstances. I'm like, that sounds like a fun challenge, a good chill out driving game. You know what I mean? But with like more open world aspects, and it's co-op.
Is that what it was?
No, well, yes, technically. But what if I tell you that even on the roads, you can't drive?
Why? Too much ice?
So I like chill out delivery kind of games. The game is open world like a Ubisoft title, so you had to go to these watchtowers. But they start you in the very first area in the mud. And so they give you this ability to winch and pull your truck out and then get to the delivery point. But even when I'm on the road, the car's like, can't stay still. Like, so my first thought is like, okay, that's the tutorial truck. That's got to be the tutorial truck, right? Like, they're just teaching
better handling. And
yeah, like Crew. Crew starts you out in a crappy car and you get to where you can drive straight. So I got to the first real truck. That was even worse. So I'm just like, wait, so is this just like Euro Truck Simulator, but like if you want it to be on crack difficulty?
Ice Road Truckers, the game.
Yeah, so I looked up the reviews for the game to see if I'm missing something, and this review, I linked it to Huey, says it best. Review of SnowRunner. It's like Euro American Truck Simulator, which I do like, if the road hated you, the cargo hated you, and the truck hated you. So I'm like, maybe in another world, Benny would want to play this, but for my chill out driving game, delete. So then I went,
I was going to say, you guys should comment below if you want Benny to platinum that game.
Oh my God. Oh, we need some kind of an incentive. Maybe it'll be our first Patreon goal because we're going to get a Patreon going for this channel. We got to find something funding somehow. But anyway, so then I started up another game.
Get me to talk about something besides Destiny.
You need to play other games. While doing Destiny, these are the games I played, Shank.
Okay. In my defense, I'm now going to be playing things besides Destiny. We've been planning this for 6 months.
Right, and we're going to talk about day one rating in a minute. But
yeah, I know.
So I started up another game I downloaded. It's called 13th Sentinel Aegis Shield. It's about giant robots versus kaiju in an RTS strategy game.
Pacific Rim?
It's basically Pacific Rim. Made by one of my favorite developers, Vanillaware. Known for over-the-top, big-breasted women in that game, Dragon's Crown. They made that game.
I like Dragon's Crown.
Yes.
But it's obnoxious.
Yes, it is, 100%. But you know what you're getting into. Vanillaware,
is it the same kind of side-scroller?
Yes and no. So it's an over-the-top RTS with hand-drawn graphics for the side-scroller portions where you're the students trying to learn. It's basically Neon Genesis Evangelion if it was a video game. And I'm like, it opens up with immediately the girl shows up, warps in her giant sentinel, goes into it, makes an immediate comment that all of her clothes have been removed, but you can't see anything. And then they're like, move your body. And she's like, I'm like, yep, it's Dragon's Crown developers.
I don't know what you want me to say about that, dude. Like,
but it immediately gets off of that girl, goes to the dude, and then it turns into Persona.
I was gonna say, please tell me like they're doing the same thing with the dude. Like, oh no, my shirt ripped.
No, he does do that. He's like, I'm naked, controlling my sentinel. Like, apparently you need to be naked to control the robot. Like, very much Neon Genesis Evangelion, if you never saw that.
No.
They all have to get naked to control their things. They have like these battle suits, but then they all end up naked for some reason anyway.
Whatever happened to like Zero suits? Like, Samus knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She wears clothes, but she also like has to be like partially naked to use her exo. What's wrong with that?
But I had to stop this game too. So I started the game. The battle was awesome. Move robot, fight kaiju. You don't get to see them directly. It's all like dots on a blip, but you can see what they'd look like if you zoom in, kind of a situation. But then it cuts to the story portion, the persona part, where I'm walking around a school talking to everyone. And it's not even like I can just let it play out. I have to keep pressing X to start the next conversation. After like 45 minutes, maybe an hour of them constantly going through scenes and not putting me back in combat, I'm like, oh God, I know there's an audience for this. It is not me. Like, I get like 8 hours into a Persona game and I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. It's like Life is Strange. My wife really enjoys those kind of games because she can like actually just play them at her own pace without the cutscene keeping on going. But when Nier got to that one part where like you're just like talking for hours and hours and hours, I'm just like,
the dream sequence with all the text that came up.
Yeah, it's like at a certain point I just kind of want it to play.
Yeah.
Or read it to me. Like,
well, and that's exactly it. Nier gets even worse on ending B, just a heads up.
Does it?
They give you the
How far are you?
I'm on ending B.
You're on ending B?
Yeah, that one starts up with giving you the backstory for Kaine, but it's an hour of just text, like a novel.
Oh, okay. Well, how long is the dream sequence? Like 15 minutes?
15 minutes, yeah.
So 4 times. Oh my God. I feel like Automata only did that once.
I don't even remember Automata doing it even once.
Yeah, there were a couple times where the little Sentinel buddies would start talking to each other, and they would explain stuff to you.
Okay.
But like I said, that only happened like once or maybe twice, and it wasn't for long at all.
Yeah, right. So okay, well, so that game got deleted, but that one's already been revered as being an amazing game. But I'm just like, I just wanted the fighting portions. I just want to control robots fighting kaiju. That's what I want to do. Like, I don't want to.
The gameplay sounds fun. It sounds like all the extra stuff
Yeah.
isn't particularly.
It's just not up my alley. I'm definitely could find something more up my alley than that. You know?
It doesn't sound up my alley at all.
So the last game that I found to test out is called Void Terrarium Bunch of Letters. Worst marketing ever because I couldn't even Google and find this game. I had to go into the PlayStation Store, copy and paste the title, slap it into the Google thing. Okay, it was
the Google things.
The Google things. Doesn't even count my Steam games that I tested out recently. So I start this game up. You're a robot, and they drop you into dungeons, and it's a roguelike apparently, and you go through the dungeon collecting materials to bring back to your pet human girl. She is literally a Tamagotchi. She's the last human survivor. And you have to, like, she'll be like, I need food, I need medicine, and you go out looking for it, bringing it back to her, and she pops up on your screen like a little Tamagotchi, giving you symbols and cheering you on if you got it right, or if she gets sick, I need more of this. Like, you're feeding a Tamagotchi of a little girl while you're running around a dungeon, and that is the winner. That's the game I'm playing right now.
Where do you find all these games?
I look past Destiny.
Do you just like scroll through what's free to play, or like
No.
Is that where you find these games, or are you actually like buying all this stuff?
I'm buying all this stuff.
See, that's my thing. I don't have that level of disposable income to just be like, I want to play Robot versus Kaiju with boobs. So
Where's that game? I want that one.
that looks interesting.
Actually, if you want Robot versus Kaiju, it's a game called Ember, which I am subscribed to on Kickstarter, waiting for it to come out. Robot versus Kaiju plus boobs.
Okay, I don't actually want that.
You do, trust me. I'll link it to you after this.
Oh my god. What was it you were trying to get me to play last year? That jet ski game?
Jet ski, count, whatever.
Did you ever end up playing that?
Me and Cody became anime girls. It was great.
Oh god.
I play the weirdest things. But
you
no, normally
really do. And then you're like, why don't you want to play this with me? And I'm like, that's just
what I normally do is I buy all these games on sales, and then when I'm between games, I check out a bunch of them finally. Like I'll get them for like $5-10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you like you're one of those guys who has like 5,000 games in your Steam library,
yes,
and you just download them and then delete them. That's not a bad idea. I could just go to the free section, download or purchase all the games for free, and then just play them in my spare time.
Yeah, well, and that's what I do with like the PlayStation Spring Sale, 75% off, and like half of these games are like $2 at that point. So I just get a whole bunch that sounds pseudo interesting because I like the basic concepts, and I check them out later.
See, it doesn't help that I'm such a completionist, though. Like, I have a very hard time picking up a game and then not doing everything there is in it.
Well,
So,
I had
like-
to stop doing that because of the platinum problem I have, where it's like I want to do everything, but if I do that on every game, I will never get through this library. Like,
Right. And that's my issue with Replicant right now. It's like I want to do everything so I can get the platinum as quickly as possible. But it's like it's taking me so long to do it. I'm not enjoying the game. So I think I'm just going to sit down, only do story missions, and just call it quits there.
Yeah, definitely. I got to figure out something because that was the issue I was trying to get to. I was trying to do platinums in like 4 or 5 different games at a time. And it's like a great example is Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil 8's a great game. I loved it. And we still have to do our discussion about that now that I'm back from this little mini vacation. We'll do that when we do our discussion on the season of the Splicer, which both should be coming out this week, guys. So I hope you're looking forward to that. But Resident Evil 8 takes you like 6-7 hours to beat. But if you want to do everything, you got a 30-hour game in your hands because you got to do all the challenges, all the time trials, all the super runs, all, you know what I mean? Like there's.
Would you recommend it on PC or PlayStation?
I liked it on PlayStation, but I got a PS5 too. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. But is there anything on there that really requires a PS5?
No,
It's not like
really.
PS4s are junk, like
No.
they can't play games.
So far, owning a PS5, one game I feel like was made for PS5. That was Returnal, and I didn't like it.
You didn't.
I didn't like Returnal. Everyone's ranted and raving about it. I don't, because I know it's RNG, and I probably just ran into the worst luck ever. But like at the beginning of the game, it's like this game is super hard and challenging, and that's the intended purpose of it. And within the first, I played it for like 3 hours, and most of my runs would end because I got pinned in a room with zero ability to dodge. And I feel like they just didn't. This is my personal opinion, and I know a lot of people are ranting or raving about the game, and I'm probably just got a bad luck of the draw. But I feel like the game just wasn't balanced, and instead of balancing it, they were like, "It's supposed to be hard." You know what I mean? Like that's how I felt.
It's difficult because we artificially neutered your player
Three times.
Your character.
3 times I died were because I was pinned in a hallway and they were just peppering it with bullets with no way to dodge.
Can you not backtrack?
No, I had to move forward, so I had to get through the enemies there. Like I could do some dashing, I could do my moves, but
they hit a wall where they're not able to keep chasing you or something.
Yeah, I don't remember now. It was a couple weeks ago. I just remember very specifically being in these hallways and like these spread of bullets just going back and forth. That I just literally like, how am I supposed to dodge this? Like, what am I supposed to do? And I don't know. Maybe I didn't unlock the right ability. Maybe I just got a bad luck of the draw. But it just felt to me
sometimes
like,
that happens though with skill trees. Like you spec into the wrong thing, and they like if you chose to go down one path instead of like diversifying a bit, then all of a sudden you get like hard locked on a specific level that you need something for.
And like I said, it's my personal opinion. I did not look into it to see if I just hit a bad luck of the draw. I was just like, you know what? Not in the mood for this. And that was the only game that I've played on PS5 that looked like it was meant for PS5's processing.
Well, it's early in the generation cycle. So.
I'm not sitting here bashing PS5.
I think 7 what's that download called for 7?
Oh, Intergrade.
Intergrade.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm probably going to replay that. I was thinking about it. Instead of finishing my platinum on it now, I'm going to download that, do Yuffie, and if I'm still into it, I'll do my replay there with all the upgraded graphics.
Yeah, I think that'll be the first big test. That game was freaking beautiful on PS4 though too. So
yeah.
I'm curious how good it's going to look once it's on PS5.
I was plowing through it for the platinum just because I'm like, I want to get this before PS5 because it's a bonus. I get 2 if I do that. But then I was like, well, why? Because I'm going to want to redo it when it's on PS5, so I'm going to beat the game 3 times? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, 4 times, right?
No, I've only done the 1 playthrough, and then I was doing hard mode. So
right, and then you do it on PS5, and then PS5 hard mode.
Well, no, because PS4 to PS5, it'll give you the same trophies.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't need to redo it unless I really just wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you'll have the trophies unlocked. You'll just need to play through the game to get to Yuffie. Okay.
Right. Oh, yeah, I don't know where Yuffie is. I'm hoping that I could just pick her from the beginning and just do that. But so that has been my week of gaming, Shank. Other than our preparation for our Destiny 2 Day 1 raid. So, Shank, what was your... So, real quick, I'll explain what a Day 1 raid is. So, when Destiny comes out with its new raid, they give you 24 hours where they make it more challenging than default. I think it's you're under power level by 25, right?
20, I believe.
20?
It's either 20 or 30, so, let's just call it 25, and that'll be good.
You're under what you should be to do it normally, and they cap you out. And the fun of it is just getting together with 6 of your buddies and butting your heads against the walls trying to figure out one of the most challenging pieces of content in Destiny together. That's the fun of it. We have been training for 6 months. I would say training, but we've just been meeting up with our raid team once a week, every week, to basically prep to do this. Like, just kind of bounce off each other, get more back and forth, have a great time. And last week, we were in the final prep stages for it. So, Shank, what did you do to prep for Day 1 raid?
So over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's the reason that all I've been saying is I'm playing Destiny for the last 3 times we've done this. I was running Nightfalls that give in-game content, Ascendant Shards, basically just stuff to help infuse your armor and your weapons up. We don't need to really go into the details of that. So that I had extra reserves in case I needed them. That's what I was doing the last 2 weeks. And then this last week, I was working on getting this new rocket launcher. Well, it's an old rocket launcher, but it came out with what's called a catalyst, which basically takes an old gun, gives it an additional perk, or increases a perk it already has, and makes it better. So I got the catalyst for this weapon called Deathbringer, which basically it's a rocket launcher, fires straight projectiles. They scatter into 5 or 6 projectiles, and then they track a target. the further they track the target, the more damage it does. And basically what the catalyst did was made it so it reaches the top DPS potential earlier than it would without the catalyst.
Right, a catalyst, for those who don't know, is like a bonus objective your weapon gets to make it stronger. It's just like if you're really playing a ton of the game, here's a little bit extra to make you extra in everything.
Right. So we saw this about a week ago that this new catalyst was gonna it made the gun essentially super strong. So I was working on that, and I linked it to our raid group, and I was like, "Hey, we might need this." And Benny said he didn't even have the weapon yet, so he said he'd go get the weapon.
So
And
unlike
I'll
Shank,
let you tell the story from here.
I was going to say, unlike Shank, when it comes to a lot of the loot and stuff, Shank is under the philosophy of Destiny, I need every possible gun in case it is ever needed in the game. And he has literally said that to me. This isn't me paraphrasing. He's like, what if in 2 years I need this shotgun? So he gets every weapon and armor the game has available to him. And I understand his argument, but my counter argument is that has never happened. Can you name one situation where you needed a gun that you acquired 2 to 3 years prior?
2 to 3 years? No. 2 to 3 seasons? Yes.
2 to 3 seasons, but you know what I'm getting at. Generally, and this is one of my complaints at Destiny, is you end up with about, I'd say, probably 10 to 15 guns you like. And no matter what is the meta, you kind of end up going back to it unless you're doing PvP. PvP changes things up, but neither one of us PvPs regularly. So that's not an argument for either one of us.
No, not at all.
So my argument with Destiny has always been like, these are the 10 to 15 guns I'm going to use, and I don't need any more. And when we finally hit that wall, I will go farm the additional guns. So Shank hit me up, and me and a few others, is like, hey, we need this gun, and we need this catalyst. Now, I told him I didn't have the gun because I didn't have the gun because I didn't know the gun existed because the gun is garbage. Until the catalyst.
It was garbage.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no one ever mentioned it. I didn't even know it existed. It was a quest chain.
I also thought the gun was garbage, so let's just get that out of the way.
I knew the quest chain it was attached to. I didn't know it was a reward at the end of the quest chain. Everyone told me that quest just told you Eris Morn's backstory, so I was like, well, I don't care that much. I can read that on Wiki. And I just stopped doing it.
But the cutscenes, man.
There was no cutscenes in it.
For Eris Morn's backstory?
Yeah, she just talks to the ghost and then falls to her knees. That's all it was. But there was no cutscene. It was just in-game engine.
Okay, I guess you're right. Destiny has warped what I think a cutscene is now.
Exactly.
I've lowered my standards so far.
So Shank told me that, and I told him I'm not doing it. I'm not going to bother, and I'm not going to get it. Now I did that as a joke against Shank. So while I thought from the beginning this gun would be useless and we would not use it, I was not going to be the guy to show up to our day one raid and not have what turned out to be the gun we needed. Especially since I am the organizer of our raid group, which would make it even that much worse if I'm the guy that didn't show up with the gun we were warned about a week in advance. But what I did do is keep telling Shank that I'm not going to get it, and I would check if he's online or at work, and that's why I kept checking if he were at work and work on it when he wasn't there.
And in the meantime, he's just like, yeah, I don't have the weapon yet, but I'm working on getting it. Like, I'll at least have the weapon. And I'm sitting here just thinking, okay, the weapon's trash without the catalyst, so why are you wasting your time? But at the same time, and this is a good point to link the discussion to toxic positivity, I didn't want to be that guy who said, Benny, you have to do this right now. You have to go get it. This is absolutely necessary. Because I do agree with him. There was a solid chance that we weren't going to need to use it. But at the same time, I'm just sitting there like, yeah, just don't do it. That's fine, Benny. This is going to work out great.
So I didn't know that he was like mauling over this, like just super pissed at me because he wasn't saying it. And I'm avoiding him because I'm working on it in secret.
So, yeah, to say the least, he absolutely got me on that one. In my defense, when my friends tell me things, I tend to try to believe them as a rule.
So my plan was one of two things was going to happen. Day one, we would officially need the rocket launcher. And Shank would make a comment like, well, everyone who has it, bust it out. And I'd be like, you mean this? That was my plan. Or we would get to the end of the raid, not use it, and I would go, what did I do this for, Shank? Those were my two plans. Friday comes around, and we're doing this big raid on Saturday morning. Shank jumps into the voice, and he is like avoiding talking to me. We're in the same voice call, and he's just not even acknowledging me. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Turns out he's pissed as all hell at me because I'm not getting this gun.
I feel like that's overstating it a bit. I was angry, but I wasn't going to... I was just pushing that stuff down. Like, just push it all the way down. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm not going to actually, like, express that I'm upset about it. But I think at that point, you were, like, making a joke about it. And I was like...
Yeah, I think I was cracking some joke.
If I say something, I'm going to lose my shit. And then I'm the guy who lost my shit. So I'm just not going to say anything. It'll be easier that way.
And you and I had to talk about something involving PSG. So I pulled you into a private to talk about that. And of course, we almost immediately got on the topic of the rocket launcher because you wanted to ask me about it or at least express your frustration. And I think I said something like, all I said to you was like, admit that we're probably not going to use this or something like that. Like, and you were like, yeah, I know, but you should go get it. And I went, this? And I linked up the completion of it.
Yeah. Yeah. From the beginning, in my defense, I did say there's a strong chance we're not going to need to use this.
You did. And then you got mad that I wasn't working on it.
But if we did need it, if that was the optimal DPS strat for Atheon, and we were on hour 10, and we had almost enough DPS, and you didn't have that catalyst, and that was what the optimal DPS strat was, then that's where, when I say I'm prepping for a day one raid, that's where my mind goes. Like, just have what you need, and if you don't need it, then whatever.
And my counter argument is, the problem is you can't prep for all variables, which is what you try to do by having every possible gun in the game.
Can't you?
You can if you want to play other games.
Good point. That's why your segment of this has been more interesting than mine for the last 4 weeks.
Exactly.
So that's over now. So enough about how we prepped for it. What did you actually think of the day one raid itself?
Okay, so the requirement this year, or this raid, to get our special reward, was to do the raid twice. That, I think, is the worst. I had a blast doing it. For those who don't know, if you can watch the VOD, we spent 14 hours getting through it the first time. Then, and we had it clear. I don't know why we have no reward for it, but there's literally a tracker that says how many people did it that way the first time. There's only 6,000 people, and our 6 are in that 6,000. But in order to get a special emblem, which looks like trash, by the way, but I still would be wearing it right now if I had it, you then had to do it a second time with extra requirements. This was 2 a.m. for me. What about you, Shank?
It was 4 a.m. for me. So a little bit of background. In Destiny 1, this was the first raid ever that came out, Vault of Glass. They are remastering it, bringing it forward to Destiny 2.
Right.
So I guess their train of thought was, well, they already know the raid. Even if we add a couple different mechanics here and there, it's going to take like 2 hours for the raid racers to complete.
Yeah. And they were wrong. I think it was like 2 to 3 hours.
What they didn't think was the other people who are doing day one who aren't doing this as a job.
Like because those guys are like esport level or full-time job. Most of those are content creators, like Datto and those guys. They literally they play Destiny 12 hours a day, every day. They do have every variation because that's all you do. I'm going to farm up every variation because I'm playing this game all day.
Which, I mean, good for them. Like, and they should have stuff that is good, like that they can do. But for the life of me, I cannot understand why there was not an emblem just for completing it on day one.
Yeah. Why did it have to be a double run? Now, without the reward, I still feel accomplished. I still feel like I'm proud of what we did. I had a great time with it. We surprisingly went 14 hours with no more than the occasional snap. No one got angry. No one got pissy. No one. LaFarcy got a little ill after being there for so long, but.
Which, I mean, once you have a headache for that long, you're gonna get sick. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised LaFarcy stuck it out that long. That man was.
I'm
a
proud of
trooper.
our group though, because we even had our 2 swap-in people who just hung out most of the entire time. They called it like an hour before we finally got it, and that was it.
Which to them, like, I gotta say, Saad, Coda, thank you for like hanging in there, because at any point in time we could have lost someone, and the fact that you guys were available for that long, I mean, I appreciate it. I really do.
No, I do too, and I even said that to Dakota, like, in all honesty, we should probably have swapped out LaFarcy when he was feeling ill, at least to let him go relax and kind of recover, and then maybe swap him back in for the boss or something. Give LaFarcy a breather.
Yeah.
But no, the overall experience of doing something, I always enjoy doing things like that like day one, first thing in there. I'm not a guy that's like, I have to beat everyone to the content. I have to get everything first. Because with these kinds of games, it's going to be here forever. But if you give me a direct incentive, like, hey, it's only going to be this challenging for this time. Yeah, I want to do it. I want to say, hey, I did that. I beat that day one. And we got a raid ring, which I do have coming in. I don't know why they would make a ring and not an emblem. 2D emblem. Let's do a ring instead.
See, and here's the issue. They can't, like, retroactively give out an emblem because the backlash they'll get from all the people who quit once they found out they weren't going to get, like, quit just because they knew they would have to do it again.
Yeah.
Would be massive.
I don't think Bungie's shies away from massive backlash or doing stupid things.
I just hope they learn their lesson. When they bring King's Fall forward, or Crota, or Wrath, they have 2 emblems. Because I do like the idea of there being a challenge mode that you also have to do on day one, because that is good for the streamers. And I do think that there should be at least something in the game for people who really want to punish themselves because they're masochists with this game.
No, I agree with you 100%. I do.
But the fact that you didn't give out like something for the people who were able to accomplish it, I think it kind of tainted the experience for some people.
I feel like it brought it back to the way it was, though. They didn't used to give away rewards for doing a day one raid. It was just more of the personal accomplishment of doing a day one raid. The reward was the belt. So you either raced or didn't. That's why if you look at the numbers of the earliest ones, there wasn't that many people in the race.
Yeah.
I think
it's healthier. I think it brings the community together.
Yeah.
And I think for the last 2, there's been a lot more participation because they A, did it on Saturday, and B, either gave us enough time to level or didn't require us to level. So everybody's at least able to go in and try it.
Yeah.
So you have more people completing it. And I think it creates a sense of community, like an excitement around your game.
I think it makes the raids more important. We were talking about it earlier today where you were saying you wanted more raids to be made. And I said the problem is the casuals don't raid. The people who actually raid is very small. Like, it's just not that. We have the same problem with Final Fantasy 14 and in WoW and in ESO and all these games I play. The raiding community is tiny, and I love raiding, and I wish there's a way to get more people involved, but the term raid seems to turn people off. I mean, there's games like Division that tried it once and have never made another one. They've never even tried to fix the one they made.
Yeah, I don't get it because... I mean, I do get it because some people just want to sit down. They don't want to go through the trouble of finding 6 people.
Yep.
Which, if you need to find 6 people for Vaults of Glass in Destiny 2, we do have a clan that you can check out on our Discord. Anyways, but I think they just don't want to go through the trouble of finding the people to raid with. That being said, like, I still think that kind of stuff should exist because it's the aspirational content that gives people a reason to continue playing the game. If that
Even
stuff
if you
doesn't
never
exist,
end up doing it, you always have it in the back of your head of like, I can do it. Like that's how it used to be in 14. Like I used to, there's been periods where I don't raid, but I've always looked to the raid. Oh, well, if I get a group, I could do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, The day one experience, I don't think is bad. I do think it's slightly tainted by not having any form of reward. And I do think they weren't as open about it. Like, they were more as open as you always bring up the TWAB as a thing. Not that many people read the TWAB, and I think that's part of their problem. What they should do, they have a banner that tells me the newest stuff in Eververse. Why can't they have a banner that comes up and says, day one raid dropping, here's the rewards? So people know right off the bat how to get them and what to do. Middle of the raid, we were trying to find the rewards, and that was a challenge in itself. Like, is there rewards? I thought there wasn't. You thought there was. And we were like, because I was like, I don't think there's an emblem for this, guys.
Well, because they did give us an emblem, just to be clear. But that emblem is still earnable now. It's not a day one emblem. It's a Vault of Glass completion emblem.
Right.
And we weren't sure about that, so we were looking into it like right after we had beat it, I think.
Like, you like, because you like Destiny so much, you like to take sources like Bife, the Grim War, the TWAB, and be like, well, it's all out there. And you're not wrong, but I do feel it more needs to be in the game directly. There needs to be more direct
communication. They have been improving that. This year and last year compared to years before, they have been using that banner to actually pop information up. They'll say, like, next week in Destiny, this will be the Nightfall, double infamy.
Yeah. So why wasn't there one that said, in a week, day one raid drops this Saturday, regular raid drops Sunday. If you complete it on Saturday with the challenge mode, here's the reward. Like, that could have all been laid out. And if you skipped through it, that's on you.
Yeah.
But you can use that banner to tell me the newest emote in Eververse is alive, or when we started the season and they were like, check out how we changed our store.
Right. Or have that little banner at the bottom flashing. Let's not get off topic. We're going into Eververse. We will talk about Eververse when we do our Season of the Splicers review.
Wait. This is less about Eververse and more about using those same tools. Using those same tools to make it very clear what you're getting yourself into. Because I also know people that did the day one and they were like, this is so hard, I'm never going to complete it. And I had to explain, no. It's only hard that time. Now it's easy.
Actually, they're doing something nice, which is you are going to be able to do the challenges again on contest modifier. They are putting that back in. It's just not going to be like the day one race. Like, you can't get the emblem from doing it, but that's what the challenge mode's going to be, which will be really soon. That's the first time they're doing that, which I think is also a good idea.
Well, a lot of people have asked why that hasn't, like, why is, like, I get day one, but why is that not something high-end raiders can do just for fun?
Why did it take us till season 14? Why did it take us until season 14 for that to be a thing?
Oh, I mean, I've said that about this whole entire season. Beyond Light's been incredible, and they finally cleaned up. The gameplay loop is tighter, and we were talking about earlier, you don't need to guess what it is to figure out what's going on. The raids, I love the way they're handling the raid drops, the day one raids, the rewards, the incentives. I love all that stuff. And I love the day one raid, and I'll probably do the next one regardless. If it requires 2 runs, I can tell you right now, I probably won't get an emblem. But
hopefully they'll fix it. Hopefully they'll fix it and make it so that you get an emblem from doing it.
Who in the offices was like, no. Make the emblem pretty basic and make it so you have to do 2 runs. Who in the office said that? Like,
I don't think they expected everybody to get stuck. I think they expected everyone to be able to finish it in like 6 hours and then maybe need like...
I mean, they did say that. They did say, we expect this to be a quick clear, so we'd put challenge mode in. But did they forget, like, even if you know exactly what to do, 1, they changed quite a few things. 2, they're hitting like trucks. Like, like 2 shots on all of my classes and I was dead.
Like a harpy that was 100 yards away that shot a laser beam could kill me in like 2 seconds.
Exactly. And now we log on to do the raid and I'm like, Harpy, eat my sidearms.
What did you think of the changes?
So I'll admit it now that we're out of it. I did not do Vault of Glass. I confused it with a different raid and I don't know which one. Which one has you jumping on the ships that are floating through the space? Because that's the one I got.
That is King's Fall.
King's Fall's the first raid I did.
Yes, King's Fall is a fun raid. I love King's Fall. There are people who don't because it's really just plate simulator. You just stand on plates for almost every encounter.
I did King's Fall, and I thought that was Vault of Glass. So like the whole time we're running through that raid, I'm thinking in my head like, where's the annoying jumping puzzle that got mad that I had so many problems with? Where's this puzzle? Like,
so you don't know what it was like.
And then we got to Atheon. We got to Atheon, and I'm like, well, that's the boss. I think I did a different raid.
Yeah.
Well, because everyone in our group's like, "Oh, we ran vaulted glass," and I kept saying like, "I did vaulted glass. I did vaulted glass." No, I didn't do vaulted glass apparently.
Well, the plus side is that you managed to make it 14 hours without anybody figuring that out. So hey,
Like when you guys kept saying we got to go to the vaulted glass jumping puzzle, I thought that was the puzzle.
no,
So I'm
it was
just
a super simple puzzle.
Yeah, so
it's
I'm
like,
just-
it's
so we're
like
running
it just
through it.
disappears.
I even said it on the thing. I'm like, I vaguely, I don't really remember this stuff, guys, but I'm sure it'll come back to me as we go. No, it's because
That's King's Fall was Hive.
it's 5 years
Disrespect.
ago, man.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So yeah, when we do
So-
King's Fall, I got us.
So you didn't watch the video either, did you?
I was watching it as we were going. Because the way my
Oh.
memory works, if I watch it like a day before, it's useless. So like as we would walk into the new areas, you guys were explaining and I went quiet, I was watching the video with the instructions.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it either.
Well, I mean, but I was watching it, but of course, I'm obviously not going to know
Well,
that.
you watched it as we were doing it. I did
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. Like I started it and I was like, nope. I'll come back to this later. I'll say as far as the changes, I think they did a really good job of changing up the mechanics enough to bring it up to current raid standards. I think this has actually made Vault of Glass one of my favorite raids.
I
Vault of
agree with
Glass
you on
was
that one.
not one of my favorite raids before.
I like
which is-
I like Deepstone Crypt, but I do think Vaulted Glass they did a really good job with. I also like that there's a lot of challenges in there now. There's a lot of things to do. They're coming out with master difficulty. There's multiple ways to do different fights. I like that they're kind of taking the idea of the raid and going, well, if you're gonna run it 20 times to get an Eyes of Tomorrow,
I'm almost at 60.
60 runs to get that rocket. If you're gonna run this 60 times, let's give you a couple variations to have some fun with.
Right.
It's like they've realized the people who raid hardcore are going to keep raiding. So please give us more ways to do it.
Exactly.
Because I think in our Deepstone Crypt runs, our group, like I'd say a month and a half in, did every variation, and we just goof off now. The running joke is Chaos Strat, figure it out as we're
Right.
going, and we complete it every time. So it's not even like that's like memeing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way to do that encounter. But yeah, it added enough complexity to the fights, like that it didn't change how the fight goes. It just added variables in there that weren't difficult to figure out. It just makes it so that you actually have to communicate during the fights. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Now,
I'd say
you
my only
tapped out.
My only
Go ahead.
complaint with it, my only complaint with the run is the oracles. I don't think it should be auto fail. Especially
No,
since they can be set off by multiple things.
For Atheon?
Just in general.
Well, in the first encounters, you
I just
can
feel like they should-
hop
'cause-
into the pool for negation.
I just feel
So that
like
wasn't too
because of the amount of times we have to do the oracles, there should be at least like one mistake given or something like that. That's just my personal preference because we've been in there plenty of times and it's like that war mine cell set it off. Shit. You know what I mean? Like, or
Right.
I mixed up what you said at the last phase of the last fight. Crap. We got to do the whole thing over again.
Well, our callouts were real confusing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like-
that didn't help either, but you know what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
just feel like
I get what you say, and I just respectfully disagree. I enjoy the challenge. Like, I don't like that. I like, especially for boss encounters, like, you can't fuck up.
well, and I agree. And it
Apologize. Let me
might be-
retry that. You can't mess up.
I agree, and
Because-
it might be. I might be feeling this way because we spent almost 7 hours in Atheon, and one member of our team kept messing up the callouts, so we would shoot the wrong one. And if
Right.
there was just one gimme, we could have been fine so many times.
Right. Yeah. And I understand the desire to want that, but then I don't know. I guess it wouldn't. Then you're just arguing, well, it's not really that hard of an encounter. You know what I mean? And it isn't mechanically difficult. It's just you got to be able to communicate. But
Yeah.
so it was about 2:00 your time, 4:00 my time.
We lost one guy, and this was my stance on that. I was like, if we get a 6th, I will keep going. I can do it. But if
Right.
we sit here for an hour looking for a 6th, I will fall asleep. that was my philosophy on that. I was like, you can go to different teams if you want to. I'm here if we get a 6, but I cannot sit here for an hour and BS and stay awake.
Well, and you could tell one of our guys, he already had a group lined up, and he was raring to go at that point.
Oh, he was 100% kind of like, I don't want to bail on you guys, but can we make a decision quickly because I'd like to go.
Can we make a decision because they're getting ready to go, and I need to know now.
Yeah, exactly. And the other two guys were kind of like, Platt said he'd go find a group, and Neo didn't care. And I was in that boat. I'm like, I feel accomplished. If we disband here, I'm cool. If we get a 6, I'm cool. I'm good either way. So you ran off with Chalk to go do a second group. How'd that work out? To do the challenge mode, by the way, to complete this run.
So first off, I do want to give a shout out to the Box Canyon Guardians. They allowed me to join their team. And it was an ordeal because at that point everybody was delirious, including myself. Well, so I also want to take this moment to apologize to some of them.
That's my complaint with the double raid run, because it's like 2 a.m. and you had to finish. There wasn't 2 days for 2 runs.
We actually did okay for the first couple of challenges, because we knew how the encounters worked at that point, and we knew what the challenges were. We were just able to get in there, do them. Especially the Templar. I was really dreading the Templar, and we just were able to get it much quicker than I thought. I think we were at about 2 or 3 hours in before we got to the gatekeepers, and then we got stuck at the gatekeepers. And the thing for that one, I believe, was I think they had to be sacrificing before you killed them. Or that might have been another challenge. Honestly, I'm so delirious from doing it. But
it took me 3 days to recover, dude. Today, I'm finally back to normal.
It took 2 hours. 2 hours just on one encounter. We get to Atheon, we tried it a couple times, and just between, at this point I'd been going for 19 hours straight.
Yeah, because you went past me. At this point, I had woken up and you were still there. At this point, I woke back up. I came back downstairs, had my coffee, and I saw you online, and I'm like, holy shit, they're still going.
Yeah, 19 damn hours, and I'm still sitting in this chair. Maybe 20 at that point.
What'd your wife think?
I told her that this was a possibility. Just so you know, I made plans to go out that night.
Dude, so did I. I had backup plans because I thought we were going to be done
on going over to a bonfire and actually enjoying my evening because I figured we'd be done with it after about 8 hours.
That's what I thought. I literally made plans to do some stuff that night if we had finished. And it just got to the point where it's like, don't count on me. Don't count on me.
Yeah. Yeah. So she got home the next morning because she was staying with her really close friends.
And you're still sitting down here.
And I was still sitting down here, and I looked at her, and I was like, I'm still going, babe. I don't know how much longer I'll be.
I know. Well, there was at one point with Natalie at night. It was 10 o'clock, and I'm like, yeah, we're so close to finishing Atheon. Probably 30 more minutes. And then 11. Okay, we're so close to Atheon. Just probably 30 more, and midnight. We're so close. And then 1 o'clock, I'm like, I don't even know. Just go to bed.
It's like I really, at this point, I don't know. We had that one run where we got down to a sliver of Atheon's health, and we just couldn't push through the DPS.
Yeah,
that was heartbreaking.
That was, dude. That was so demoralizing.
But anyway,
I kept saying I know we're all getting demoralized. It's okay, and then you'd have Platt. I'm fine. Let's keep going. I'm like, all right, let's keep going. Let's do this. We got this. Platt's cracked out on Red Bull or something. I don't know, but let's keep going.
So yeah, so we tried Atheon for a couple hours, and at this point, I'm gonna be honest, I was making mistakes that I was the Lafarsi. I was so delirious that I couldn't keep up with their callouts. The group ended up breaking up. 2 people had to leave. We literally just went on LFG and we brought in more people. I think we brought in 2 more randoms. And I realized that I had my heater on all night. I got a little space heater down here because I'm in my basement and the AC just pumps through here.
Yeah.
So It gets down to about 50 degrees if I don't have the space heater on.
I throw hoodies on, but okay.
So I decided I'm just going to turn this off now. Turned off the space heater. Bam. I am freezing and alert as hell. Ready to go.
No wonder you're awake when you won. Like you and Sean
And I'm just like, okay, left oracle. I'm like, I am freezing at this point. But with 2 randoms and an assortment of guardians from different clans, we were finally able to at about 21
It was such an endurance
hours
run.
in.
You guys just piecemealed together.
Right, 21 or 22 hours, we finally beat it. And got the shittiest looking emblem I've ever seen.
The worst part. Like, I'm trying not to shit on your emblem, but it's...
Dylan, can you do me a favor? Can you put up the emblems? I'm going to link you 2 emblems. There's the day 1 Vault of Glass. Took me 22 hours to earn this emblem. And then there's this emblem called No Power in the Verse Can Stop Me, or something along that lines. Tell me which one you think is better, because the one that did not require a 22-hour slog, it's 3D, it looks nicer.
The problem that I have with the one that you got is it's not even a Vault of Glass symbol.
It's not Vault of Glass specific at all.
I'm worried, worried for you, that is going to be the emblem they give out if you do a day 1 challenge. That's just now going to be that.
If they do that, I'll probably stop doing day 1 races. I think that would be enough to get me to stop doing that.
Because it's so not specific to the raid. I was like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You could.
Right.
There's a Vault of Glass
I swear to God,
symbol.
if they do that, like, I try to stay away from the negative toxicity that's in our Destiny the game. I will be flaming that entire.
It's funny because
subreddit.
like I did not like the Deepstone Crypt emblem, and I didn't get it because my group disbanded. I had more of a piecemeal group at that time. But I wasn't a huge fan of the emblem anyway. I probably wouldn't have worn it. But all you guys who earned it have worn it. You are one of 4 people I know that got it, and you're the only one sporting it. The day 1 raid for Vault of Glass.
Right. Okay. So I will never argue it's a good-looking emblem. I will never argue that it doesn't look exactly like another emblem that most people have.
The one that they gave away as a Moments of Triumph.
But at this point, I don't care.
Oh no,
wear it. I'm gonna wear it, and if I see somebody wearing the other version, even if it looks better, I know, and I know you know, and I'm not gonna say anything.
And you know that I've been wearing
but
my
we
other
both
version
know.
just to mess with you.
We both know it's not messing with me. I don't care that you're wearing the other one because I have that one too.
And you're not wrong. And I'm not lying. If I had earned it as shitty as it is, I would be wearing that one because it's an accomplishment. It is. But the problem is it's so not specific. It so doesn't look worth it. Like, it's just like, if you I got this up to 22 hours, no one's going to go, oh my God, that's incredible. I wish I'd done it. They're going to go,
right. I agree with that.
Congratulations.
100%. I agree with that. But I also, it gives me enough satisfaction knowing I did it, knowing I have it.
Oh yeah, no, and it's a very rare emblem. It's not as rare as I thought. I thought it was going to be even lower, but it's still rarer than the ones I have.
Honestly, I think it was like 3,000 people completed it, and like 5,500 completed Deepstone Crypt. So, I mean, quite a few people got it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it'd be a lot lower because of how much of a slog it had to be to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, either way. And then I was on my way to recovering, and then I got called into work last night, and I was there till 5 a.m. So my circadian rhythm is just completely off right now. I don't know if it's day or nighttime or what's going on.
Well, you're also in a basement with no windows, it looks like.
Oh no, there's plenty of windows. The windows are like there and there and over there.
Well, either way, it was an incredible accomplishment, and congratulations on you completing the other end of it. I do like people, I've had a few people be like, well, why were you doing that? And I go, well, why would you run a 10K run? Like it's no different than doing any other special. If I was doing this every Saturday, then you could question my sanity. But this is like something we do once every 6 months. We get up, we do this crazy run. Yeah.
I would not be able to do this more than once or twice a year.
Yeah. But like my mom likes to do like, oh, I'm doing a 10K run once a month or whatever. It's like, it's no different than that. It's just I did it in a video game and my back hurts now.
Yeah. I went up to bed and I was like, babe, my back hurts. My kidneys hurt. My feet hurt. I think I have a pressure ulcer on my wrist, right in this area. It's like, I need to just recover. She's like, that's fine. I understand. So kudos to her for putting up with all my BS.
My wife just kept checking in. You done yet? Almost! And then eventually she's like, I'm going to bed. We won 10 minutes later.
That's all we needed, Nat. We just need you to go to bed earlier.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's recap of our day one adventures. Next week and on the news show, there will be Dylan and Houston. They'll be back like usual. We just knew that as a finale to Shank's obsession with Destiny, this would be a lot of Destiny. Although I did steer it to a couple other games this week.
Yes.
Hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon right here at Absolutely PlayStation and Steam Gamers.